Well, good afternoon and welcome to Perivale Wood. Welcome to day 3 of 30 Days Wild, which is a little project where we try every day in June to get out and do something to engage with the natural world around us. And I'm trying to do some sort of content, probably mainly live streams here on YouTube, but perhaps the odd thing on Twitter or elsewhere as well on each day of that project. And what we're doing today is we're down here in Perivale Wood and we're doing a bit of a survey for a type of moth or a group of moths that that flies during the day and that has transparent wings, so they're called the Clearwing moths, and they are a group that were regarded as quite scarce, quite difficult to find. They didn't really come to any of the usual survey methods we used. They're not particularly apparent when they're out and about during the day. But one of the methods that's been developed for surveying for these in recent years is the use of synthetic pheromone lures. And these are essentially copies of the pheromones, the chemicals that the females use to signal to the males that they are present, that they're looking to mate. So you can put these synthetic versions up and the males detect the scent, fly in to where the pheromone is, and either you can stand by the pheromones with a net and catch them as they come in, or what we've got here is we've got a couple of little trap designs that hold on to the moths so we can see them. They're an interesting group. They are just starting to come out now. A couple of the species start to appear in late May, but most of them start to come out through June. So we're going to go and have a look at a couple of these traps, a couple of the pheromone lures, and see what there is to see, if anything. I haven't checked these, so I don't know if they've attracted anything today, although some elsewhere in this wood did work yesterday, so I know the moths are on the wing now. And if all else fails, I have got one captive specimen from yesterday which we can have a look at the end. So we'll go for a wander now into the woods, wander by a couple of these traps, see what's in them, and see if there is anything of interest. So I'll turn the camera around and we'll start to wander. So the first of the traps is this container hanging up in the tree here. And this one can't see anything immediately. This one was set up to survey for a species called the orange-tailed clearwing. The way these work, I've shown these on a few broadcasts before, is up in the top there is a plastic bung. You might be able to see it, although it's transparent, so you probably can't, in that green cage. And that contains the synthetic pheromone. That contains the thing that resembles the smell of a female moth. And there is something flying in there, actually, I can see. See if it flits up again. There's something flying. It looks the right sort of shape, so that's vaguely promising. And this is one for a species called the orange-tailed clearwing. Now, there's a clearwing moth that's in there. I think it might well be an orange-tailed. It's just a bit of a weird view whilst I get this down. So we'll just take this somewhere where we can sit down and have a look at it. There's at least two things flying in there. They are orange-tailed clearwings. We will try and have a look at them inside. Hopefully they won't both fly away when I open it. But you can see the orange abdomens there. So that's been effective in attracting at least two of these clearwings. I'll try and open the box and have a look. Right. So there is one of them. Just flown off. And here is the other one. Again, it's probably going to fly off in just a moment. There we go. So fairly brief views because I didn't try to pot these up. And if you were interested in the names, that was the species we were looking for. Orange-tailed clearwing, Synanthedon andrineiformis. Thought to have looked like one of the Andrina bee species. So I will just put the bung away, seal it away, so it's not now attracting anymore. So that was a successful start. That was 2 orange-tailed clearwing moths attracted to their specific lure. I'll just leave that there and come back to it in a moment when we're done. And then we'll walk through the woods to where I put the other lure. So they were orange-tailed clearwings. They were attracted to the lure that was designed for orange-tailed clearwings. And the way these lures are produced, as I understand it, is that people have collected the female moths, have extracted some of the pheromones, presumably fairly small quantities, done some analysis of the chemistry using some form of chromatography, I believe, to work out what chemicals, what structures were in the pheromones, and then they've cooked them up in a laboratory. Now let's have a look at this. This is not a clearwing moth, but if it settles, it's quite a nice little moth. Sitting on this bluebell head here. It's not very helpfully positioned. Let me see if it'll behave. No, that's a bit better. So it's sitting on the stem there. Let me zoom in a little. That is a longhorn moth, De Geer's longhorn. Doesn't seem to want to focus particularly well. Not particularly long antennae on that one, so that's just a female. The males of this species have very long antennae. It's not particularly what we're looking for today, but they're always attractive. Anyway, we'll wander a bit further on and go and check the other pheromone lure. We'll stop and see if we see other things. There's a speckled wood butterfly flitting in the path ahead of us. See if it'll settle. It's settled on this log. Just flown off again. So the males of speckled woods hold a little bit of sunny territory. They'll guard a sunny patch in the woods and wait for the females to come by. And that was probably what was going on there. That was probably a male hanging onto its territory. Just guarding those little sunny patches, those little bits of good habitat. Another speckled wood butterfly just flitted through. They probably don't show up that brilliantly unless they perch on the stream. But there it was. Now I've just got to remember where I put this lure. It was somewhere up here. So what was I saying? So you identify going back, so that people extract some of the pheromones, do some chemical analysis, identify what's in them, and then they try to stick together a synthetic version of that. Typically they're not synthesizing perfectly the whole of the pheromone exactly identically chemically to the one produced by the insects. Typically what they will do is they'll produce some approximation to it. And then to see if it works, what they'll do is they will get a male of the moths, kill it, remove one of its antennae, and stick some electrodes into the antennae, waft the antennae through the pheromones that they've made, and see if it excites nervous signals, which suggests it's hitting the detection. And by doing that, you can work out what you need to make in the pheromones. Now, the reason I mentioned that, apart from interest, is because they're not making the perfect pheromones, they can catch things that aren't what that particular pheromone's designed for. So that one we just looked at was designed for orange-tailed clearwing and did indeed attract orange-tailed clearwing, which was nice. But it's not guaranteed that that will happen. They do sometimes attract things other than their target. And we've got here a one that's set up to attract a different species, the yellow-legged clearwing. Can't see anything moving in there, so this may be a slightly disappointing one that doesn't have any in it, but we will have a look. Again, perhaps you can see a bit more clearly in this one, because it's slightly bigger design, the plastic bung which contains the pheromone, the synthetic pheromone. And I can't see any sign of anything in here, but we will just give it a quick go. No, I'm not seeing anything in here, unfortunately. So this was one that was designed for this species, the yellow-legged clearwing. But we haven't got any. So what I'll do is I will leave this trap out operating for another few hours, checking it fairly frequently because the moths don't obviously have any food or particular moisture in here. So you don't leave these traps just sight unseen and ignore them for hours. You do check them fairly frequently to make sure the moths are okay. And ideally you don't stick them on a twig that's going to snap and fall off. So let me just do that again. Let me hang it back up on somewhere else. Not the best of views you're getting whilst I'm doing this, I'm afraid, but there we go. It's hung back up, and hopefully that will continue to be pumping out the pheromone and might well attract something before I finish down here today. Right, we're going to have a quick wander back and we'll have a look at an example of one of these moths that I captured yesterday, which I've been hanging on to just to take some voucher photographs. But it'll give us a chance to have a quick look at one contained in a pot so it won't fly away like the ones we did earlier, or saw earlier did. Back through, going back the way we came, fairly simple route today rather than spending a lot of time. So heading back to our Bluebell Centre, the place where we do our education and visitor activities here in Perivale Wood. and we'll have a quick look at that. Let's let this person get by so they're not broadcast against their will. We'll have a quick look at this yew tree whilst we're waiting. Right. So we'll wander back to this. It's unlikely any will have come back to it. No. Okay, I'll come and deal with that in a moment. I'll put that out into the other side of the wood and just try and get a broader survey of where these moths might be occurring. And we'll go and have a quick look at one specimen that we've got, so we can have a bit of a better look at what we're seeing. So we're going through the side entrance here. We're not in full operation today, so we've just got the back door open. I'm not talking to myself, by the way, if you're wondering. Just letting one of our volunteers here know what we're doing. So this is what we were looking at before, an orange-tailed clearwing moth. You can see the orange tail and you can see somewhat the clear wings. There's good chances we'll try to escape if I keep this open for long, but you can hopefully see there the transparency of the wings, the orange base to the abdomen. I will keep this sealed because I want to get some photographs of this later. I don't want it to get away. I don't want it particularly be flying around in here. But that was attracted to lure yesterday. Well, as I was saying, they sometimes come to the wrong lures, and that was actually attracted to the lure for the yellow-legged clearwing, which is a different but closely related species. So there we go. At least we've seen a couple live in the lures, and here's one we can see a bit better and a bit more stately in a pot. So there we go. I'll end there, and I will go back later on and check those lures in a different place, well, in the same place for one of them, in a different place with it, and see what else has come.